Thank you. That sounded beautiful. Got a beautiful voice. Have you all ever seen the monologue from George Carlin where he's talking about our stuff? Well, I wanted to show you the YouTube clip, but it is George Carlin, so that's not the most appropriate language on a Sunday morning. But I'll give you a little rendition of it. It's a great reminder of how attached we as humans can be to our stuff. He starts out by purposefully coming late to his comedy routine, and he comes out apologizing. He said, "I would have been here sooner if it were only I could find a place to put my stuff." And he even says that the meaning of life might be finding places to put our stuff. And that's all that houses are, a place to put our stuff. If we didn't have so much stuff, we wouldn't need houses, he says. And a house is just a pile of stuff with a cover on it. And sometimes we sell our house to buy a bigger house. Why? To buy more stuff and put everything in it. And he talks about flying over in an airplane, and you can look down and see neighborhoods full of stuff. And also when you leave your house, you lock it up so no one steals your stuff. And also, you wouldn't want anyone coming by taking your stuff. So that's all of a house is to George Carlin, is a place to put our stuff. And sometimes we buy storage units to put our stuff in. So enough about our stuff. Let's talk about other people's stuff. You ever notice when you go to another person's house and you never really feel quite at home? Do you know why? There's no room for your stuff. It's someone else's stuff. It's all over the place. And what awful stuff it is, he says. Where do they get this stuff? Their stuff is junk, and your junk is stuff, he says. It's crazy. And when we go on vacation, we want to bring our stuff. Now, you can't take all your stuff, but just the stuff that you really like. At least the stuff that'll fit you that month, right? So let's say you're going to Honolulu, and you're going to bring some of your stuff. And you can't bring it all, but you take 2 bags and a handbag, a carry-on, and the stuff in your pockets. So you get to the hotel, and what's the first thing you do? You start to put away your stuff. Stuff goes here, stuff goes there, and your stuff can go over there, and my stuff's going to go here. But George Carlin goes on to say, we have more places than stuff when we go to a hotel, so there's freedom in that. But then when we go on vacation, we got to buy more stuff. And so just when you're ready to start and relax and thinking, I'm not as safe as I thought I'd feel, but at least I have my stuff. Well, you can be relaxed in Honolulu on that basis. But then a friend calls up, and he's in Maui, and he says, come over for the weekend. Let's go, come over and bring your stuff. And you're thinking, oh no, what stuff do I bring? And then when you get to his house, he says, I have a friend across the island. Let's go to his house. And you're like, oh no, what stuff am I going to bring there? But the funny thing is, you know you just need something for overnight, so you only take what you're going to need. Money, keys, comb, pen, book, whistles, phone, and maybe just your toothbrush. He says, sometimes we go through all that mind game of what to bring, and sometimes maybe all we need to bring is our toothbrush. So that's just a silly take on how we do accumulate and value and get attached to and rely on our stuff. We find comfort in it, holding on to things. I do it. I just finished a 6-month course at Kansas City illuminating the world with the truth that you know. And another way to practice it is our denials and affirmations. I learned this when I first came to Unity. It was so powerful for me that I could notice my thoughts, and any thoughts of lack or sense of separation, I could say, cancel, delete, those aren't true. And what I know is that I am prosperous, and I am one with the source of all. I love those principles, the foundations of Unity. So in sharing some of those stories I got from Science of Mind, a few modern day stories of people that have let go. And some of you have seen and read the book by Julia Roberts, Eat, Pray, Love. And it's about the real life author Elizabeth Gilbert and her spiritual walk that she had when she went to Italy and India and Bali to discover her life's meaning. And while in Italy, her friends taught her an Italian phrase, il dolce far niente. It means the sweetness of doing nothing. To most of us, this is a completely foreign concept. It certainly was to me, the author writes, until my recent sabbatical. For the first few days of my sabbatical, I didn't feel like doing much, so I didn't. I lounged, I napped, I read, I watched movies. But then my mind began demanding, shouldn't you be more productive? What about cleaning your office? What about the books that you need to read? Blah, blah, blah. And I had to fight the urge to get up and do something. But then I remembered, il dolce far niente, the sweetness of doing nothing. And I gave myself permission to do just that, nothing. And it was liberating, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't a slave to my calendar and my to-do list. I let go of doing and practiced the art of just being. And I am changed forever because I let myself live in the present moment, doing whatever pleased me at that moment. And I discovered that I don't need to be on sabbatical to experience il dolce far niente. I can do this whenever I need to in my heart, mind, and soul. So on days that I see I don't have anything to do, I write il dolce far niente on that and practice the art of doing nothing, just for my soul, mind, and body. This one was really good of a pilot that practiced letting go. And this happened in the 1950s. Maybe some of you heard of test pilot Chuck Yeager, as he stumbled onto an aeronautical truism as well as a spiritual truism. At that time, test pilots were experimenting with the high altitude flying, and they found that flying at higher altitudes, that the laws of normal aerodynamics didn't apply anymore. Many pilots before Yeager had lost control of their aircrafts and plunged to their deaths while frantically trying to control the plane. While flying the X-1A test aircraft at 80,000 feet, Yeager's plane also lost power and began to tumble violently end over end toward the ground. Yeager was knocked unconscious and let go of the controls as he passed out. Ironically, this is what saved him. As his plane plummeted 51,000 feet in 51 seconds, Yeager regained consciousness and immediately took control of the plane, which was now at an altitude of which the controls would work. Yeager was able to fly the plane safely. And what was the spiritual truism? How does this apply to us? Sometimes we have to let go. When something is out of our control, our best move is to surrender and write it out. Inaction becomes our action, and it allows us to recover and make a decision from a place of wisdom, not panic. This is counterintuitive, and it may be difficult, but especially for those of us who love to be in control. But letting go can be an exhilarating step in spiritual maturity. Letting go. And the last little one I wanted to share, because it happened in 1968, and that was a good year. A man staggered into Nickajack Cave near Chattanooga, Tennessee. The cave was known for its long, winding tunnels, and it was easy to become lost in them. Carrying a flashlight, the man had one intention: to walk down deep into the cave, lie down in the darkness, and die. His life was in ruins. He was exhausted, and his body was ravaged by years of drug abuse, and he no longer wanted to live. But something happened as he lay on the floor of the cavern. He felt a slight breeze of fresh air and saw a faint light. He recalled, "I felt something happening, very powerful to me, a sense of utter peace, clarity, and sobriety." He lifted himself up, stumbled toward the light, and found his way out of the cave. The man was singer Johnny Cash, who later described his spiritual experience in the cave as a rebirth. His way of living wasn't working, and he was grateful for the chance to be reborn again. And some of us reach this rock bottom place like Cash, finally surrendered to the fact that what we're doing with our life just isn't working. And many people find their way into new thought centers like this one and discover that when we focus on God as our spiritual source, the rest just falls into place. Letting go and letting God. So, are there things in life that we're just forced to let go of? Perhaps the death of loved ones? Perhaps being a parent, and as they become adults, we have to let go? Or moving to a new space? And watching the seasons change around us? Perhaps finding a new career, or releasing unhealthy habits in our lives, things that we are forced to let go of. And my biggest one is letting go of control. Actually, I've experienced all these things this year in my life, and they've touched me deeply, and elimination to illumination, working through that, and meditation, and support from others, and going through my pastoral care classes and getting this new job. So I just wanted to share this, and I'm honored to, that, I've lost 2 friends to suicide this year, one on January 1st and one last week. It's just something that I have to let go of because I can't understand it. And even something pretty big in my life is that my son's 18. He's out on his own. He's making his own decisions. And the other 2 are growing up so fast that Rod and I might be empty nesters by tomorrow, the way it feels as a parent. Some of you already know that, and you've gotten through it. So another thing is that we've had to move, and again, it was the letting go. We downsized. We sold half of everything we had, but it made room for some things that we really valued. And also the new job. I really had a sense of loss and letting go of things that I could use up from my free time. One of those was volunteering, and that wasn't going to happen anymore. I had to work. I chose to work. And yeah, I did get this dream job, but I still can't let go of the fact, I'm letting go of the fact that I mourned some great losses along the way, and to honor those and reflect on those and give myself space with those and letting go. And the other one is eating healthy. We were eating breakfast this morning at the hotel, and the news is, Americans need to wake up and get healthy. And we're sitting there eating waffles, and it's just to be conscious. But I know, and Unity helps me so much with how I can affirm that my body is a sacred temple, and I appreciate it. So when I come from that place, it's so much easier to let go and let God help me make those better choices. I also imagine Eckhart Tolle, some of you have read his writings, he's amazing, and how he talks about letting go as some things we just have in our lives that are like a hot coal, and we have to let go of them quickly. You wouldn't hold on to a hot coal. So I can imagine some of the things that are burning inside of me that keep me stuck, that keep me imprisoned. I physically do that, or I do this, or, just things that can move in my physiologically let go of. And of course, in meditation, spiritually and emotionally. The power of renunciation and elimination in our lives. Continuously weeding out our gardens. We need to exhale in order to inhale. It is a natural cycle. It starts so very close to our breath and in the world and in the universe, cleaning out our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual closets. Selling and giving away our stuff, this auction, watching things go, but knowing that they're going to go to a better home and that new things will fill that space. Recycling and even burning things to make room for the new. That we can make a decision to eliminate thoughts of lack completely from our minds and illuminate our awareness with expansion and abundance. Each day is a new beginning. And Unity Spiritual Center of Manhattan is relocating to 205 South 4th Street, Suites L and M, shining God's light. For this, we are grateful.